All right. Hey, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again for this week's workshop, which will be about goal setting and how you can transition your why, your essential foundational why, into how. So, what we've covered already as you're joining us on our business boot camp. So, the first part we covered was about pre qualifying your business. It was pretty much just essentially making sure that you guys are set up for success as you go on this journey. Whether or not you've already started your business or you are looking to start your business, we want to make sure that you're getting the guiding principles necessary to ensure that you are successful in this entrepreneurial journey. Our second part we spoke about was aligning yourself with your why. A lot of businesses, as they first start, they start by default. And what I mean by default is business kind of just falls in your lap. You created a product that people were interested in. So you said, let me go ahead and start selling it. And then you just went ahead and start selling it without really knowing why you've decided to sell that particular product or service. So aligning with why is essential to make sure that your business not only can overcome any setbacks, but that you know why you've decided to go on this journey in the first place. And then the third part was where Kristen really dug into the business leader mindset. She talks about the archetypes of different leaders. She talks about the strengths and weaknesses of each of those archetypes. And then she really dove into how can you collaborate effectively once you know what your strengths are and where maybe you need someone else to fill in the gaps on things that you might be a little weak in. So my name is Leilani. I am CEO and co-founder of B Chic LLC and the B Chic Retail Group. I started my journey back in 2010. And I was one of those that business just kind of fell in my lap. I was making jewelry for a wedding that I was going to, and the jewelry was a hit. People were asking me to make it for them. And then next thing you know, I'm on this journey of making jewelry. I started a fashion accessories jewelry company in 2010, and I sold most of my items online and some were person to person through farmers markets and local events at corporate offices and stuff like that. That's how I started my journey. And as I went through my journey, really looking how business is so fundamentally strong in what you do. And what I mean is why you do. I needed to really hone in what is it that I wanted to achieve with this business? Why did I want to achieve it? And that's when I really had to dig down and say, what is my why? And make sure. So I had to backtrack a little bit, make sure that the company that I started in 2010 was aligning itself with my why. And part of doing that was kind of discovering what our future goals would look like. And so that's kind of what we're going to be diving into today is if this business fell in your lap, if you kind of just stumbled on a money-making machine, let's make sure you continue to make that money, but it still aligns with your why and your goals align with your why. So part the first part of this is going to really talk about how to shape your goals, right? And your why will shape your goals. So in my case, my why is my family, right? I have a family first approach to almost everything, if not everything I do. And what I mean by that is if I have any goals that I'm thinking for the company, I have to make sure that they're not contradicting any of my family principles. And some of the principles I have is I really try to make sure I'm there for every special event. Birthdays are huge in my family. So if I have a business meeting, I do not schedule it on any of the birthdays for my children or my husband. And there's just little things like that that I do to make sure that whatever decisions I make, they align with my why. And so for my goals, if we decide to bring on a new platform or a new opportunity to sell our product, we make sure that the vendor, the supplier that, or the marketplace that we decide to sell our product on, that our look, our feel, our brand is accurately represented on that platform as a family-based business. And I'm going to show you a little bit more going forward what I mean by that. The second part we're going to talk about is moving from why to how. So a lot of the questions I get are, okay, well, my why in my case is my family. but I am an electrician company. How can I bring my why, which is family, and integrate it into my electrician business? Or how can I sell life insurance? How can I migrate my why, which is my family, into life insurance? And so we're going to talk about some of those examples in a little bit. And the third part is goals, goals, goals. We're going to go over which goals you should be thinking about. A lot of business owners, the first thing I think about is revenue. Revenue is not the only goal that should be important in your business. So let's talk about what is a business. Okay, I know we mentioned it previously. This same exact slide was on another module. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into it. So, what is a business? Merriam-Webster's dictionary says that business is a structured organization or entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities, aiming to produce or distribute goods and services to consumers. Very accurate. You're either selling a product or a service for money, and you have some sort of structure around how you do it, right? Now, businesses typically are associated with business owners and entrepreneurs, and these two seem to be used interchangeably. Business owner is thought of as an entrepreneur, and entrepreneur is thought as a business owner. I'm here to tell you I believe those two are different. Okay, I think business owners start as entrepreneurs. However, for an entrepreneur to be truly successful, they need to transition to being a business owner. Now, let's take a look at what that means. Okay, business owners have key strengths. A lot of their key strengths are around stability. Okay, they have a really in-depth knowledge of their industry. They have control. They know the ins and out of their business, their operations, their finances. They have long-term views on what's possible. Their goals are not set around what's going to be done in 1 year or 2 years. They're thinking 5 or 10 years out. And because they've built up a business and an empire, and they've been in business for a while, they have financial stability because that's what they aimed for. That was part of their long-term view. Some of the weaknesses that business owners have, they're a little bit slower to change, okay, because they're so focused on stability, and they have long-term views. They tend not to pivot as much as an entrepreneur will. They're a little bit slower to change. And because of that, they have a little slower scalability, okay? Business owners are looking for stability, which means most of the time they are growing their business incrementally over time. Now, let's talk about an entrepreneur. Unlike business owners who are slower to scale, entrepreneurs tend to scale really quickly. They're quick on the ball. They're not looking for 10 to 15 or 30% increases year over year. They're looking to 10x their money, and they're looking to 10x it by tomorrow. Okay. And because of, one of the ways they do that is because they're highly flexible and they're adaptable. Entrepreneurs, when we see a gap in the market, we're quick to fill that gap. Okay. We can pivot rather quickly. Entrepreneurs, we tend to be solopreneurs, or we only have a few people on our team. So it makes it easier for us to pivot and fill that gap. Whereas a business owner usually has a bigger operation, and it takes a little bit more for those gears to switch into another direction. Entrepreneurs, we're risk takers. Okay. I think everyone who's in business is a risk taker. I don't believe that risk taker strength goes away even when you're a business owner. We still have that essence of being a risk taker. And then entrepreneurs were visionaries. Okay. And I'm a business owner. I have transitioned into business owner, but I still have core strengths: risk taker, visionary, growth mindset. All of those are still core strengths that I withhold as being an entrepreneur essence. Does that make sense? My entrepreneurial essence is still here with me. However, I've had to transition into stabilizing my enterprise to make sure we can achieve the long-term views I've set for it. Some of the weaknesses that entrepreneurs have is uncertainty. Okay, I faced a lot of uncertain times, and they don't go away once you're a business owner. Okay, there are still uncertain things that happen. However, you learn to manage it a little bit more so you don't go through burnout, right? Because when you have uncertainty, banks are not going to lend you money. So there's a lot of financial pressure to have to pocket a lot of the stress of, or you're having to finance a lot of your endeavors when you're first starting out as an entrepreneur. There's not, banks aren't lending you money, right? So you're working that much harder in order to make your business successful. So it leads to burnout. This is kind of what I summarize as an entrepreneur, um, entrepreneur's weaknesses, that once you can get your mindset around, okay, let me not take so many risks. Let me, maybe if I'm going to look to increase my business, let me look at increasing it steadily over time. So that way I can build up a portfolio of customers I can then show to a bank who will then lend me money. So now I'm not facing financial pressure. And that's where I'm saying the mindset, you come in as an entrepreneur, your essence will always be there as an entrepreneur. But switching that mindset from saying, hey, I'm just going to make the quick cash or the next side hustle, switch that mentality into how can I grow steadily my current business model over time so I can achieve stability and sustainability in my business. And that's the switch from being an entrepreneur to a business owner. And I think I just covered this entire slide over here, but transitioning from an entrepreneur to a business owner is giving yourself stability. Okay, so shift from high risk to high reward to stable and consistent. Work-life balance. So once you've shifted from high risk, high reward to stable and consistent, you're finally going to achieve that work-life balance that all of us really want. I don't think anyone here wants to work 60 hours, 80 hours a week nonstop with no days off and no holidays and no vacations. No one wants that, right? The reason why we went into business is because we dreamed of having freedom and flexibility. We dreamed of being our own boss. We dreamed of being able to take control and be our own leaders. And we dreamed of having more time with our family and friends and vacationing. And so all of those things is work-life balance. It's in really shifting your mindset from 10xing into consistent gains over time is going to allow you to have that work-life balance that we're all looking for. Also, diversification. So once you start gaining money, you're getting profits coming in, and you've maybe decided, hey, this machine is working really good over here. I've got my number two running my business. Hey, now I see another gap in the industry that I think I'd like to start looking at. Now you can sit there and say, hey, let me go ahead and diversify. This one's running good. Let me see about building something over here. So you can start looking at having multiple revenue streams come in. And then depending on what you want, you're building a legacy, right? So whether that's building a legacy for a business to be sold, right? So you're going to have plethora of money that can be passed down to your children, or you're looking to build a lasting brand that can be passed down. This is what can happen once you transition from that entrepreneurial mindset into a business owner mindset. So let's talk about your goals now, all right? Because I just spent the last, 15 minutes talking about transitioning from a business owner to an entrepreneur. Let's go ahead and talk about how your goals can help you do that, okay? So I want you to think about where you're at right now. Where are you at in this moment? Are you overwhelmed by tasks and responsibilities? Are you unsure what to do? Or you feel like you're stuck in the daily grind? Have you been in your business now for about a year or so and you just really haven't seen any growth? Are you at your corporate job and you're stuck behind a desk and you're like, I don't need to come in here another day. I don't want to come in here another day. Are you in the car right now listening to this on your way to work, wherever it is that you work, thinking, I don't want to be going there anymore? I want you to really think about where you're at right now. And then I want you to go in and think about, where do you want to be? Do you want to be enjoying the fruits of your labor? So if you're going to work every single day and do you leave satisfied? Do you feel like you've put in a really good day of work? You're happy with what you did? You feel like you've helped? Do you enjoy the fruits of your hard work at the moment? And if not, is that where you want to be? Are you experiencing a good work-life balance? Or do you feel like you're lacking in some areas? Are you seeing your family enough? Is that where you want to be? Do you want to see your family more? Do you have freedom of choice? So do you want freedom of choice? I need you to really think about where you're at right now and where do you want to be, because in between that is your plan. So that's what we're going to work on today. I believe it was in our second week's workshop. I talked about Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. We talked about his book. It starts with why. And Simon Sinek is the author of It Starts With Why. And he came up with this diagram right here. It looks like a bullseye, right? Or a target. And what he talks about is that most organizations, if not every single organization, knows what they're selling, right? And they also know how they're selling it. They know what they're going to do in order to sell the product. But most organizations do not know why they are selling something, because money is the byproduct of business. Okay. That's just the results. But your why is your core purpose. It is your belief. It is why you do anything in life, right? So if a company knows why they decided to sell the service or product, now they can figure out how they're going to sell it to someone, right? And then the what. You can focus on the what they're selling. But it first has to start with the why. So let's talk about transitioning from why to how. Okay. So because why is foundational, so in my case, it's my family. All right. I would like to take my why, which is my family, and make sure I can take actionable steps, right, into a goal that I have set. We're going to talk about this. I know it sounds a little funny. You're like, well, Ilani, you're not making any sense. Have you been drinking? Not yet. Not yet. I'm doing a Books and Booze podcast later. I am completely sober right now. So I'm telling you, this is some good stuff. Bear with me. One of the first ways you can transition from why to how is by setting a SMART goal. Okay. What is a SMART goal? SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Okay. It's making sure you're actually ensuring actionable steps towards achieving your greater goals. Okay. And here's a little diagram here that breaks down what I'm talking about, right? So you have your SMART goals again: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Here's your why. Remember, it is the core of why you do anything. You will have short-term goals, you will have midterm goals, and you will have long-term goals. Your short-term goals are immediate milestones that embody your why. Your midterm goals are broader objectives guiding your journey, and your long-term goals are the overarching vision aligned with your why. I want to show you something that I've done personally with my own company, Be Chic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. So hopefully technology does not fail me now. Please, please. Okay, here we go. So I hope everyone can see this. I am just going to enlarge this. Here we go. So I did a case study a while back, which was talking about if I wanted to replace my salary of $60,000 a year. So let's just imagine that all of us here watching this right now, we're working at a corporate job, okay? Or you're working, I don't know, you're a waitress, or you're a banker, or whatever it is. Let's just imagine that you're making $60,000 a year. And you've got this little side hustle that you've been doing, and it's been doing okay. You've been selling maybe $1,000 or $500 a month or something like that. And you're thinking, man, I really wish that I could build my side hustle to replace my job. Okay. Well, in order to do that, you have to have first your why. Why do you want to do your side hustle full time? Why do you want to make your business grow? What is the greater objective? Why? Right? So if it's because you would like to vacation more, right? Or you would like to have more time with your family. Maybe you're missing out on events like I was. That was my why. I missed out on the first 4 years of my son's life. Why are you deciding that you want to replace your income, right? So let's go on this journey together. You're making $60,000 a year and you want to replace your $60,000 a year. You happen to make jewelry as a side hustle, okay? You've been selling it at farmers markets, and you've been selling it online in places like Amazon. And you're like, you know what? Let me go ahead and see if I can find other places to sell it at, because if I can find more places to sell it at, I should be able to make more money per month, which will get me to my goal of making at least $60,000 a year to leave my current business, right? I think most of us have gone in that route somewhere along the line. So let's talk. I made this little case study over here, and it says, I want to replace my salary $60,000 a year. Okay, well, how am I going to do it? So I need to increase it to at least $15,000 a month sales. Okay. And why did I pick on this number of 15,000 a month? Well, because most businesses, if you're selling at a farmer's market or you're just selling something on the side, most people, we tend to multiply whatever our cost is by 3, and that is our selling price. So for example, if I bought a piece of jewelry for $5 from a wholesaler, I would sell it to the customer for $15 or $20 at a retail price, and that would be our selling price of the jewelry. Well, most people, when they're first starting out, this is what they do. So I said, okay, well, let's say we need to increase it to 15,000, right? Because if we increase it to 15,000, let's just do some math over here. If we have 15,000 in sales, right? And let's just say 5,000 of that, because we multiplied by 3 before, right? 5,000 of that was the cost of the product we sold. Then $10,000, right, would be left over. Okay, this would be the money that's somewhat left over. Now, if we wanted to, we need to go ahead and maybe reinvest in another $5,000 more in inventory to build our inventory, right? We wanted to buy another $5,000 in jewelry to build our inventory. So if we take $5,000 again to reinvest back in our business, then we're left with $5,000 in profit. Now, this is basic budgeting. This is not true budgeting. We will be going over that in another module. This is basic budgeting. But if you were to do this, then you would have technically $5,000 left over, right? Okay. Well, if you had $5,000 left over, multiply that by 12 months, you've got $60,000. So that's why I said, in order to replace my salary of $60,000 a year, I would need to increase my sales to $15,000 a month. So that way I could replace my $60,000. Again, basic budgeting, not true budgeting. However, this will give us a great grounds and foundation for our case study right now. Okay. Now, this ends up being a long-term goal, right? So what we talked about over here, so make that out. We talked about this. This is here. Getting to a $15,000 a month, right? In sales would give us our $5,000 on profit. This is a long-term goal. Okay. Now, let me bring my slide back up. I mean, my Google Doc back up. Now let's talk about another how. So basic, kind of business 101 is, how do you sell more? Well, 3 ways. You increase exposure, you bring in more customers, and you increase how much you can sell per customer. Okay. So in this case, we're talking about jewelry. So we're going to increase our exposure. We're going to get on more marketplaces, right? Get into more stores. We're going to bring in more customers, right? By bringing in more customers means we can get more sales, right? And then I want my customers to buy more than just one thing. I want to increase how much they're buying per customer, right? This now becomes your midterm goals. Okay, that is this right here. That becomes your midterm goal. I'm going to write. Uh-oh, where did it go? Can't get it back up. There we go. Okay. Now, after that, so we have increasing exposure. Well, how are different ways you can increase exposure? In this case, we're talking about selling fashion accessories and doing it, different ways. Well, what are some of the ways? We can sell it online platforms like Amazon, Walmart, Etsy, eBay, different websites. You can sell it at events. Okay. So more farmers markets, maybe look at different community events coming up in the neighborhood. Maybe look at doing some forums. Like there's, like the veterans administrations, they get together and they have little chit chats and soirees and stuff. Brick and mortar stores, look at doing boutiques, go into salons, general stores. These all now become short-term goals. And if you can see, I broke it down again, increasing traffic. Well, how are some ways to increase traffic? Here's some ways. Average cart value. How are some ways we can increase the amount that a customer is going to buy? So these all here become those shorter goals that we talked about, which is here, short goals. Okay. So now that we talked about, the difference between a long-term goal, a mid-term goal, and a short-term goal, let's talk about how you can now make your SMART goals. Okay. Because each one of these, so if you have a long-term goal, which is broken down into 3 midterm goals, and then each of these 3 midterm goals are broken down into 3 shorter term goals, right? You see that? Each one of these is a SMART goal. Okay. And so I want to just talk a little bit. For example, in this case, I said, well, I want to go ahead and for one of my short-term goals, I want to get on Etsy, right? And I said, well, let's go ahead and get on Etsy. What's the first thing we have to do if we want to get on Etsy? And that is this. We needed to look at the role of data. Okay. The role of data is so huge when it comes to setting your goals. It helps you make informed decisions based on facts. Okay. I don't know how many times I've had a family member say, you know what place is selling a lot on right now? eBay. You could sell anything on eBay. And so here you go, just because a family member went and told you could sell a crap ton of money and stuff on eBay, you go and post all your stuff on eBay, you pay a bunch of money to eBay to put your stuff up there. And guess what? Guess what ends up happening? You sell one thing in 6 months. Why? Because maybe your particular product does not sell well on eBay because eBay is catered more to a certain industry. Just saying. But if you had some information that was based on facts, you could make an informed decision on whether or not eBay would be best suitable for your particular product. Just giving you an example. Also, having data will make you or help you track and see if you're actually doing well, right? If your plan is working, because if you're not keeping up with the data that you researched, right? If your numbers are not matching the data that you researched, maybe some tweaks need to happen in order for you to convert more sales, or maybe that particular platform was not meant for your business, and you need to think about changing to doing something else. Okay. So that's the role of data. And so when I say it's very essential to to know the role of data, I'm going to show you what I mean. So let me get back to the other one here. So first things first, let's just say Etsy is one of the short-term goals. I'm going to go ahead and set up a SMART action plan because I want to get on Etsy. One of the first things I need to do, I need to research Etsy. I need to find out, is Etsy a good platform for my particular business and niche? And here we go. So I have down here, I want to increase exposure, right? Because this was under the increase exposure here of online platforms, Etsy, right? So now I'm coming down here and I'm saying, I want to increase exposure on Etsy. What are the ways I can do it? First, I need to gather data, right? That's the role of data we talked about. I need to do some research, maybe watch some YouTube videos, go on Reddit and Quora and read some forums about what other people are saying about this particular platform. Okay. Next, I need to look for consultants, right? I need to go ahead and see if I can find people who are already knowledgeable about this particular platform. Why? Because my weakness at the moment is not knowing about Etsy. My weakness is not knowing if this platform is right for my business. My weakness is not knowing my numbers for Etsy because I've never sold on Etsy. So when you have a weakness, what do? You can do the education, research it yourself so you can become familiar and now turn your weakness into strength. Or you can go ahead and look for other people who already are knowledgeable in this particular industry, in this case, platform, and leverage their knowledge and experience to then fill in your gap. Okay. And so that's what I did. I went ahead and I said, let's search for 3 consultants that can give us information about this particular website, Etsy, and then review the collected data. So this is where I'm going to show you exactly how I went ahead and gathered data. So first thing, do some research online, watch YouTube videos, read online forums. I actually have a virtual assistant and I put her up to the task of doing this for me. So she did some research online, came back, presented her findings to me. She went on YouTube, found some YouTube videos that were applicable to our particular brand and what we were selling. And she went onto online forums and picked out various information for me to and she highlighted various information for me to read that was pertinent to Etsy. I then went on to Upwork, right? And I went and I searched for 3 consultants that I could leverage their knowledge and their expertise on this particular platform. And what I did is I looked for 3 different pay grades. And what I mean by pay grades, I'll show you guys what I mean. Let's go to Upwork right now. All right, this is Upwork. Let's say Etsy consultant, right? We're looking for talent. And over here, you're going to see, look at all these. There's a bunch of people here that say that they are an Etsy expert or they have SEO. They're experts at Etsy SEO. Oh my goodness. So there's a bunch of people here that you can go. And what I mean by pay grades is if you see all of them are paid different amounts per hour. You see, they're all paid different amounts per hour here. So you could go and you can find a different amount, 3 different amounts, and get their Etsy expert information or consultation. And so let me go ahead and I'll show you here. For example, this one here is $125 an hour. Okay. And this one here is $7.99 an hour. What you'll want to do is get 3 different pay grades. I didn't go with $125 an hour. I think I went with like one that was $70 an hour, one that was $35 an hour, and then one that was $15 an hour. And one of the reasons why I did it was because I wanted to see which each pay grade, what kind of information was going to come. You know, did one have more information than the other? Because not just because they charge more doesn't mean they're worth more. So I wanted to get consultations from 3 different pay levels and then see the common information that was coming out of all of them. Now, I can't go way into it because I'll go way over time on this. However, I will show you what some of the consultations came to me. So, for example, this is consultation number 1. We had a consultation. She came and she's showing me, what suggestion and tips, what to do on our store, an action plan, what are the best practices. And then she talked about how we could continue to work together. Consultation number 2 went a little bit more in depth. She actually went and she pulled some of our listings and said what she would do differently in our listings. Consultation number 3, she came through and she said, well, here's an actual plan. This is what I would do. For example, on this particular item, I would change it to this. She went in and wrote down everything from A to Z, how she would go in and change everything around. What would be her action plan? And so when I went ahead and looked at all of these, I said, okay, I went and I gave it to my virtual assistant. I said, let's pull all the common information out and let's see if we can put together some sort of plan an action plan that we could assign to various people in our organization to carry out. And so there we go. Here was an action plan, step, objective, action, what we're looking for, checklist of things that need to be done. And then an estimation of, how many weeks it would take if we had one person, two people. We were able to calculate all of that out. And then from here, we came up with a calendar of events. Now, this calendar was actually in a system called Trello. Trello is a project management tool that I absolutely love. And we entered this information in Trello. I just have it here for you so I can demonstrate it for you. But we made a calendar of actionable steps and assignments that needed to be done within that week, and we assigned it to each person. And then each week we had a set of things that had to be done in order to meet first our plan, and our plan was based on the consultations that we received. Okay. And that's how we gathered data. We got 3 consultants, reviewed and collected data. And then from there, we were able to strategize our SMART goal. And so what was our SMART goal for this? Our first one was specific. Now, if you remember over here, where are we at again? Let me go back over. Wait, sorry guys, technical difficulties. So if you remember here, our SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, right? So over here, we have specific, which is launch an Etsy shop to help bring exposure and gain more sales of our handmade jewelry. Okay. Measurable, onboard and optimize our product catalog in 1 month. That was this. Our calendar was 1 month. Okay. And achieve monthly sales increase of 20%. Maintain a customer feedback score of 4.5 or higher. Achievable, refer to action plan. That was this. Okay, this is our action plan. Relevant, selling on Etsy allows B-Chic to channel our passion for creating exciting jewelry into profitable family-centric business. Again, tying in our family. It also contributes to our goal of increased revenue and exposure to our family first approach, right? Again, family, tying in my why of family into a SMART action goal for our business. And time bound, our time bound was to launch in 2 months. Okay. So the question, I think the $1 million question that most everyone asks is, did it work? Well, here, I'll show you the store. So let's see here. Let's first take a look at some stats. Okay. So the stats are from November 23rd to March 2024, right? If you take a look over here, you've got, if we look at our calendar, it looks like we started in November, starting to action all of this out. So let's take a look at the stats. Here's November. It was a whopping $81. It took a couple months to launch, right? In January. So we didn't really do much here, but look, here's February. And we're only midway through March, right? So yes, it did definitely help with our plan. Of course, from here, we will continue to do some tweaking, adding new product, maybe doing some designing stuff. The goals, we will still have goals that will create even let's just say this. We completed one goal, and now we will get to make another goal, which will be optimizing and increasing more sales on Etsy. Okay. And then let's take a look at the shop. So I want to go ahead and show you the shop. Here's the shop. We've done really good. We've got 127 sales. We've got 5 stars. We have an announcement that changes out every month. Here's our product that's selling here, and everything is very cohesive and beautiful. We've got great ratings from our customers. So yeah, and I love that we were able to take our why. This is our belief, right? So at B-Chic, we understand the significance of each customer, and we want you to feel like a cherished member of our family. So we're able to incorporate our why into our business on Etsy. Okay. So I'm very encouraged to see how Etsy is going to perform as we continue to build on Etsy as well, and gather more customers and a community on Etsy. But I just wanted to show you how you can take your SMART goal. Okay, so you have your SMART goals, how you can take your short, mid, long term goals, incorporate your why, and turn them into smaller SMART goals, like I showed you over here. Okay, all right, let's go now back to our presentation. So we spoke about the role of data, right? And so you saw how I collected data. So that way I could make informed decisions based on facts. I could say, how do we track our progress as well, right? Because I already did data to say, okay, well, how much should we be looking at percentage wise in sales? And then also understanding our consumer behavior, I could see what that particular customer in Etsy was looking for and make sure our design was cohesive with that. So let's talk about other goals. I just showed you a goal of how to increase exposure for my particular business. But there are other goals that should be had, and financial goals, right? And budgeting. Budgeting is a huge goal. Budgeting, being organized with your numbers, knowing what's going on with your business finance, talking about what you would like to achieve financially in your business. All those are goals. And so making sure that you have good budgeting goals is essential. Marketing and outreach goals. I talked about exposure, which was a one way how to sell your product, but a marketing goal would also be, how can I drive more traffic to Etsy, right? So I should making a smart action plan around how to increase traffic to Etsy would be another smart goal that my company will make in the near future. Operational goals. This is huge. So the more services you sell, the more products you sell, the more growth you'll experience in the business, the more operational inefficiencies you might experience. So making sure you have goals around staying operationally efficient is essential. Tools, tech, planning, oh my goodness, especially now with AI, finding ways to get repetitive tasks taken care of with AI and tech is so, so important. Leveraging the data that's out there. So AI, the way every software solution is incorporating AI. So being up to date in tech and making sure that is a goal to make sure that you're incorporating tech into your business is super, super important. The next thing I want to talk about is prioritizing goals. Okay. Not all goals need to be done at one time. So let's talk about, we're coming back over here to replacing your salary of $60,000 a year. All of these are not going to be completed at the same time. Yes, some can be completed in tandem with another, right? So for example, if I want to do Etsy over here, which is a short-term goal, we're working on getting that. At the same time we're doing Etsy, maybe I want to go ahead and start really building up our Facebook or our Facebook and Instagram or our social media. And I can go ahead and tackle these at the same time I'm tackling this. Yes, those can be done. But making sure everything is done all at the same time, no, you don't need to do that. If I had to choose, for example, I asked my husband this before recording, if you had to make a goal, what do you think is more important? If you had a furniture business and you were, wanting to sell more furniture, would it be more important to get it on more places to sell, or would it be increasing traffic? And he said increasing traffic, putting yourself on social media more, showing how beneficial your furniture is going to be important, because you're publicizing about your product. And in that way, it can lead to selling onto more online platforms. You see, so prioritizing what's more important in your particular industry and business, okay, you have to take that in consideration. And then executing your goals accordingly is the way it should be done. Let me go on to our next slide. So every business is unique. Customize your plan to be the right one for you and your business goals. I love this. It really is so true. I like I just said in the previous slide, prioritizing your goals according to your business is super important. And knowing that every business is unique, so making sure your plan is customized to your unique business is also important. If you are not a solopreneur and you have a team, make sure you get your team on the goal. Okay. Let them know what your goal is. Let them know how you plan on executing your goal and how it's going to help your overarching vision is important because your team needs to be involved, right? They need to be bought in on your idea. And then by doing that, you should be receiving, regular communication and feedback from your team on whether or not that goal will hit its mark or not. Adapting and evolving goals are something that I think challenges a lot of business owners because I think once they have it written in paper, they think it has to happen exactly like this. And I'm here to tell you, no, it doesn't. You can adapt, you can change depending on the setbacks or challenges you come across. You might need to pivot a bit here or there just to make sure you get to the end goal, which is making more money. In this case, for our case study, was for making more money. But you can adapt. It doesn't have to be set in stone exactly the way you wrote it out. You can change it. And the great thing about the SMART action plan is you can measure your success, right? If you hit your goal of $15,000 in sales, well, yeah, you can measure it. But there's some other stuff too, right? There's qualitative insight. So for example, in our case study of Etsy, right? Seeing good feedback from customers is a qualitative insight. I'm seeing that they're happy with the service they're being provided and with the jewelry that they purchase, right? Qualitative. Getting 5 stars makes me feel happy. I'm going to measure that success, right? And check it regularly. Every week I'm going in and I'm checking in on our reviews. I have my team that follows up on good reviews and bad ones and just making sure the customer is ultimately satisfied with their product. Celebrating successes, right? You achieve your goal, celebrate it. Our team and I, we did a little high five, round of applause, and we achieved our goal because it was absolutely thrilling to see that. We put it in paper, we put it in stone. Not in stone, we put dates to it, and everyone executed it smoothly, and we completed what we needed to complete it in the time frame we had set. And so we celebrated for that. And what it does is it helps boost team morale and then makes everyone look forward to the next goal. We talked a little bit about this as overcoming setbacks. They will happen. Your challenges will pop up. Prime example, people get sick. So if you have a deadline for something and it doesn't get met because someone got sick, it's okay. Redo the deadline. Here at Sage, sometimes we've gone through things and we say, oh, well, that didn't work out. Let's try something else. It's okay. Evolve from it. So this is my little saying. I firmly believe that what we often call a failure is really just a lesson. Okay. It's how we respond to these lessons that's going to define our journey. There's no such thing as failure, guys. They're just lessons. Now let's look ahead. Entrepreneurship is always ongoing. You're going to have challenges, but with every challenge, there are opportunities. And then, so really just staying rooted in what your foundational why is will really help you enjoy your evolving how. Okay, so let's recap. Your why, we talked about your why. We talked about transitioning from an entrepreneur to a business owner. We talked about how you can do that while remaining rooted in your why. We talked about the actionable way, the actionable steps you can take to transition your why into how. And we talked about goals, and more goals, budgeting goals, financial goals, marketing goals, all of these type of goals that you need to think about outside of just revenue. Okay. Now I get to leave you guys with some homework this week, right? You have 7 questions that I would like you to answer. Okay. You can answer them all in the same day, or you can answer them one a day. It's all up to you. You do not need to show your answers to us. However, we would love to see them. So if you want, please, by all means, share this with us. You can go to sage.com and email it to us. And so the first question is, what are the products or services you offer? Okay. I'm going to build a little bit more on that. If you're an electrician, don't just say, I make electricity. Okay. Or if you are in the furniture repair business, don't just say repair furniture. Elaborate a little bit more. Electricians. Okay. Are you specializing in commercial residential homes? Or are you specializing in commercial buildings? Do you like big houses, little houses? Do you like them in certain areas? Do you like them only when, maybe you only like working on apartment complexes? Or put down there, what are the products or services that you're offering, right? But be really niche. I want to hear, what is the specific thing that you do? Um, your financial reporting software and operational systems, do you have them? Do you have any software that you use that's helping you with your operations? It's helping you with your bookkeeping. If you do, what are they? And what's your branding and marketing strategy? Okay, I think this is a really good one. Not a lot of people have this. A lot of people, their branding is, well, it's my name and my photo. Or what's your marketing strategy? Well, I take videos and I post them on Instagram. Really think about it. Do you really have a brand? Do you have a type font set? Do you have a color that you seem to be using quite often? And if you're marketing yourself, how are you marketing yourself? Are you saying the same things all the time? Do you have a slogan maybe? What is your strategy? And if you don't have one, jot something down what you think you'd like it to be. What's your customer experience model? Okay, this is huge. Do you want your customer to feel a certain way every time you've delivered your product or service? And if so, how do you ensure that happens? Okay, if you already have one, write it down. If you don't, think of one. It doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be long, just something brief that says that you've thought of it and this is what you think you would like it to be. What is your personal leadership style? Okay, Kristen, in the previous workshop, she talked about business leadership, right? And the leadership mindset. Do you have something already thinking? Have you thought about it a little bit? What is your leadership style? If not, what do you want it to be? How do you want your team to look up to you? How do you want them to see you? My personal development and growth routine. This one is huge. I cannot stress it enough. Having some sort of routine that is around your personal growth is so, so, so important. Do you have one yet? Or do you read a book every morning that's around personal growth? Do you read it at night? Do you listen to podcasts on the commute to and from work? If you do, what are they? What are the things that attract you? Write all of those down. If you don't have a routine, write down what you think you would like to start incorporating into your routine. Are your daily activities aligned with your long term goals? Every day, I try to do something for me that will align with my long term goal, which is my why, my family. Okay. So, for an example, I try to make sure that every day I'm spending at least a little time with my son on the couch watching the video that he wants me to see. Right. Every day I try to at least take a few minutes out of when I get home from work with my husband, we sit out on our porch and we just chit chat. Right. What are you doing every day that's aligned with your long term goal? All right. Like I said, answer them all at the same time if you want to, or answer them one a day in the morning with a cup of coffee. It's really up to you. But this is your homework. We would love to see the responses. So if you're comfortable with it, please, by all means, send us a copy, scan and send us a copy, and email it to us at stageconsultants.com. Now, additional support. If at any point in this video you kind of got a little lost, you didn't know where to go, please, 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 please reach out to us. Sageconsultants.com. You can get our email. You can email us there. You can set up a one-to-one. We have consultations available if you want to go ahead and consult with us on one-to-one. You can join us for our monthly webinar as well. We have a community that's continually growing where we meet once a month, every month, and we do a Q&A. We have a topic that we go over. However, we do a Q&A, and if there are certain questions that you have that you want to direct response from either Kristen or I, you can email us your questions and we will answer them during the webinar. Also, we have a podcast. Please join us for Books and Booze, where we highlight one book a month that's around business optimization, mindset optimization, and we do it all while drinking a great cocktail. It's a way to show you guys, hey, business can be fun too. Speaking about it, joking about it, it's all in good fun. Please join us. We'd love to see you there. Like, share, and subscribe. All right. And then I'm going to end you with this. In any moment of indecision, the best thing you can do is the right thing, and the worst thing you can do is nothing. This comes from our beautiful Theodore Roosevelt. Oh, may he rest in peace. And I just cannot stress it enough. You, by joining us here today and taking action to be here with us today, is huge. You've made a great decision, because this means that you're taking yourself and your business seriously. And I applaud you for that. Now, going forward, if you're ever struck with indecision, the worst thing you can do is nothing. So just do something. Just act. Focus inward. Listen to your intuition. Breathe and do. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this. I love seeing you on this journey with me, because I'm on it with you guys. I'm here telling you tips and tricks, but don't think at any moment in time that I'm not also going through what I'm teaching. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Bye.